Imagine a cow on crack cocaine. That's how author Robert Cohen describes something shot into millions of cows on American farms.
In a book called Milk, the Deadly Poison, Robert Cohen attacks what's long been considered the perfect food, claiming it can be a dangerous brew of chemical, biological, and bacterial agents that may also contain a growth hormone he believes can trigger the growth of cancer.
How do you like your coffee, Sharon?
With cream, please.
I've been having such a tough time these days with the stock market the way it is.
John and I have been shifting our investments to healthcare companies. We just bought some shares of the pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly. They make breast cancer drugs, both to treat the disease and reduce the risk of people getting it.
Did you know Eli Lilly also makes RBGH?
RBGH? What's that?
It's a synthetic hormone given to dairy cows. They sell it under the name Posilac. It increases the risk of cancer in people who drink milk made from cows treated with it. In fact, companies like General Mills and Walmart have stopped using milk made with RBGH in their products. And Canada and the European Union have even banned it. That's probably why Monsanto sold it to Eli Lilly in the first place.
So Eli Lilly is making profits from cancer drugs and a substance that could increase the risk of people getting cancer?
Yeah.
So Eli Lilly is milking cancer.
One of the first stories that Jane came up with was the revelation that most of the milk in the state of Florida and throughout much of the country was adulterated with the effects of bovine growth hormone, the artificial hormone that farmers were injecting into their cows so that they would produce more milk.
With Monsanto, I didn't realize how effectively a corporation could work to get something on the marketplace. The levels of coordination they had to have. They had to get university professors into the fold. They had to get experts into the fold. They had to get reporters into the fold. They had to get the public into the fold. And of course the FDA, let's not leave them out. They had to get the federal regulators convinced that this was a fine and safe product to get it onto the marketplace. And they did that. They did that very, very well.
It's a great time to be a high-producing cow. Posilac One Step, bovine somatotropin by Monsanto.
The federal government basically rubber-stamped it before they put it on the marketplace. The longest test they did for human toxicity was 90 days on 30 rats.
Posilac is the single most tested new product in history and is now available to you specifically so you can increase your profit potential.
And then either Monsanto misreported the results to the FDA, or the FDA didn't bother to look in depth at Monsanto's own studies.
The scientists within Health Canada looked very carefully at bovine growth hormone and came to very different conclusions than the Food and Drug Administration in the U.S. did.
Monsanto's engineered growth hormone did not comply with safety requirements. It could be absorbed by the body and therefore did have implications for human health. Mysteriously, that conclusion was deleted from the final published version of their report.
They knew there were problems. They saw serious potential human health problems, and they stood up in Canada and said, we're not going to approve this because we don't believe it's safe.
The FDA was then on the hot seat. They had to come up with an answer. They didn't come up with a good one. And they never took the opportunity then. I mean, what would they do? Pull it off the market and say, we need to now do the job that we didn't do the first time? They didn't do that.
We wrote the story. We had it ready a week beforehand. They'd bought ads.
Farmers in the milk industry say it's safe, but studies suggest a link to cancer. Don't miss this special report from the investigator.
That Friday night before the Monday this series was to begin, the fax machine spit out a letter from this very high-priced lawyer in New York that Monsanto had hired. It contained a lot of things that were just off-the-wall false, just demonstrably false. But if you didn't know the story and you didn't know how we had gone about producing it, would have scared you as a broadcaster, as a manager.
And they decided that they would pull the story and they would just check it one more time.
But the bottom line was that there was no factual errors in that story. Both sides had been heard from. Both sides had had an opportunity to speak.
1 week later, Monsanto sent the second letter. And this was even more strongly worded. And it said there will be dire consequences for Fox News if the story airs in Florida. And this time they freaked. They were afraid of being sued, and they were also afraid of losing advertising dollars at all of the stations owned by Rupert Murdoch. And he owned more television stations than any other group in America. And that's 22 television stations. That's a lot of advertising dollars for Roundup, aspartame, NutraSweet, and other products.
So we're just being constantly lied to, folks. So much propaganda, so much greed, so much